Episode 7 of Under the Bridge mostly takes place in the courtroom. The kids involved in Rena's assault are all charged with aggravated assault, and they're housed at a youth detention center. They've been sentenced to a year in there. Of course, Kelly and Warren are charged with second-degree murder, and this episode will specifically be Warren's trial and Kelly's will follow. Warren and Kelly are also staying at the same juvie while they await trial. Rebecca has a big presence there. There's a lot of media, and she also has a book deal with Simon & Schuster. She's still caping for Warren, telling the news that he's a marginalized kid and that Kelly's money shouldn't mean that she gets off scot-free. She insists on advocating for him still. Warren's dad calls him and he's pretty checked out as a parent, but he does offer Warren a place to stay. Warren tells him that he doesn't want to leave Samara, and it seems like the dad is kind of relieved. He doesn't press him or anything. He just says that he has to go. And at first I thought, what parent doesn't come for their kid on trial? Although I might also let my kid rot if they were accused of murdering a young girl. Rebecca goes to visit Warren at juvie, and she still has her cool girl big sister routine, and I actually don't think it's an act. She's just this weird and a little bit disturbed. Warren tells Rebecca that Samara doesn't want to visit him. He's pretty much accepted his fate, but Rebecca tells him that he'll have a life, that Kelly can't get away with this. Kelly's parents and lawyer come to see her, and she asks why they can't just pay to get her out. Even as she's caught, I never expected her to show any kind of remorse, but there's not even a hint of fear in her. This is the confidence of a rich girl who's never been held accountable for anything in her life. She's being held without bail, which is why she can't go home. But her lawyer hatches a scheme to get her out by claiming that she fears for her life in there. Dusty keeps to herself. Cam comes to see her to tell her that she has to testify, but there's a problem. See, Dusty signed a sworn statement saying that Warren told her that he killed Rena. Of course, that's a lie, so she needs to decide. Stick with the lie and perjure herself on the stand? Or tell the truth and confess to a false statement? She's a bit screwed either way, but she's a bit less concerned about herself now, and she seems to be the only person, apart from Cam, maybe her dad, and Rena's parents, who actually care about Rena. Dusty tells Cam that Rena trusted her and they were friends. Whatever happens to her, she just wants to do the right thing. Dusty also looks really pretty here. Well, she's always been a pretty girl, but her attitude is different, her hair is different, and most of all, she doesn't have a scowl on her face and a cigarette in her hand. She's also reading the second Lord of the Rings book, The Two Towers, and she has a family photo as a bookmark in her book. I can't wait to find out what happened to the real life Dusty. I hope she eventually did find her way. Rebecca has her dad read a piece about the case that she's written, and he notices that Rena isn't present in these pages. It's mainly about Warren. The writing about Warren is also weird, kind of poetic, and she calls him handsome. Yep, she's going with her softer portrait of a teen killer approach. Rebecca goes to see Rena's parents then, and it seems to me that she's not very interested because this isn't really the angle of her story. I've been trying to find any empathy in her whatsoever, but I don't see it. Anyway, Rena's mother especially notices as well. Rena's dad wants to know what Rena's friends said about her, and Rebecca doesn't seem to have done her homework. She says that she spoke to a teacher who said that Rena seemed lonely. Had Rebecca done any bit of work, she would have learned quite a bit about Rena from Dusty. She's a bit of a hack, I gotta say. Rena's mom says that for somebody writing about her daughter, Rebecca doesn't know much. Meanwhile, in juvie, Kelly baits two girls into pushing her down so that she can be taken away. This is part of her plan to get out of there, and it seems to be working. The case, meanwhile, is in jeopardy though because Samara is out of town getting cancer treatments for her mom who was recently diagnosed, and this means that there is no witness to testify, and of course Dusty can't actually testify. We're taken back to the night of the party and of Rena's death then. A group is going after Rena, and when Warren asks Samara if she wants to go and join them, she looks at him, disturbed by it, and she says no, and her disapproval is clear. Somehow this adorable doll of a girl is hanging out with this crowd, but she definitely isn't with them in their shenanigans in that way. She's just in love with Warren. Warren eventually joins the group beating on Rena, and yeah, he says he only kicked her once, but he really downplayed that. It's a full-bodied, really hard kick. The kind of kick that if aimed at her head might have killed her. It's so bad that even somebody else at the party holds him back and tells him that he didn't even know Rena, he should chill. After the group is done with Rena, they all take off, and Kelly comes back to Warren and tells him that she wants to follow Rena to make sure that Rena is sorry, and Warren agrees to go with her. On the stand, Warren says that he doesn't remember anything from that night. This is his lawyer's strategy for him not to recall so that he can't lie. He can't even remember the attack under the bridge, he says. Rebecca, if she would admit it, knows for certain that this is a lie. I mean, we all do. The lawyer gently presses him then, appeals to his better nature, his conscience, and he also makes it try to seem that if he did nothing wrong, then telling the truth should be fine. Warren finally cracks. He says that he watched Kelly drown Rena and he did nothing to stop her, he just stood by. He says that he doesn't know if he dragged Rena into the water with Kelly, which pretty much seals his fate. Rebecca goes to visit Cam and she tells Rebecca that Gabe and Warren are nothing alike. She doesn't know what Rebecca's deal is with Warren. Cam is all of us. Rebecca also needs to quit calling what Warren did a mistake. Warren didn't just violently kick a girl, but dragged her to her death and watched her drown. We also find out that Cam once said when they were kids that Gabe would have still been there if it weren't for Rebecca, and it's something that Rebecca hasn't forgotten. Kelly gets out of juvie for the time being. She gets to go home, and Jo is surprised and disappointed because she thought Kelly was working on a way to get them both out. Kelly tells her that her lawyer will work to get Jo out next, but I don't know, Jo's pretty cynical. I think she knows the score. Out there, they can kind of pretend that they're close to being equals because Kelly is more concerned with being a gangster and Jo has that social capital. In here though, Kelly has her money to protect her and Jo's probably going to find out the hard way that she's on her own. In the bathroom during the trial, Rena's mother, referencing something she heard in the courtroom, says that she knows why Warren or why they did it. They didn't see Rena as a person. Rebecca almost instinctively wants to defend Warren, but she doesn't. Rena's mother knows what's up though. In the end, Warren is found guilty of second-degree murder and he's sentenced to life in prison. The judge says that he doesn't believe that Warren told the whole truth. What he admitted to was already incriminating enough though. When he's taken out of the court, back to the jail cells or to juvie, Rebecca hugs him and she tells him that she'll make sure that everybody knows his heart. Rena's parents, Cam, and everybody sees this disgusting and utterly perplexing display. I mean, I say disgusting, but maybe I mean disrespectful because Rena's parents were right there. And I understand that she has compassion for him, but I absolutely don't. And yeah, that was episode 7 of Under the Bridge. We have one more episode to go, and I cannot wait to see Kelly finally get her comeuppance, if she does, and to see what comes of her friendship with Jo, because Jo is now stuck inside there with Dusty. Are they going to become allies? I guess we'll see. Anyway, if you have seen it, feel free to share your thoughts, and thank you for watching.